Wow. We just hit 1,000 subscribers. Astonished face. If you like this page and want more fun, hit that like button and don't forget to subscribe. Come join the family. Party Popper. From the very first step inside, I could tell the evening was designed for significance. The restaurant lowered the lights so softly it felt intentional, as if it expected confessions, toasts, or life-changing conversations before anyone even picked up a menu. My parents had reserved a private dining room to celebrate their 40th wedding anniversary. Heavy mahogany doors, crisp white tablecloths folded with mathematical precision, a long oval table surrounded by high-backed chairs, and crystal glasses that shimmered in the low glow, it all spoke of elegance and importance. And off to the side, near the window, sat a smaller round table set for 3. I noticed it immediately. I just didn't understand it yet. I assumed it was for the kids. My nephew and niece were coming, after all. It made sense. My mother, Linda, greeted me with air kisses and a quick visual inspection, the way she used to when I was a teenager trying too hard to impress. "You look great," she said, her tone pleasant but measured. My father, Richard, gave my shoulder a firm pat. "Good crowd tonight," he added, gesturing proudly toward my older brother and sister and their spouses, already seated at the large table like members of an executive board. I searched for my place card. It wasn't at the oval table. It was at the smaller one, next to my 7-year-old nephew and my 11-year-old niece. For a moment, I genuinely thought it had to be an error. I even double-checked the spelling of my name, Daniel Harper, wondering if perhaps there was another Daniel. A cousin. A coincidence. There wasn't. My sister, Megan, noticed me standing there. "Oh," she said lightly, as if explaining a centerpiece choice. "Mom thought it would be sweet. You know, the kids' table. Since you're still the only one not married." And just like that, the message was delivered, softly, politely, unmistakably. I'm 32 years old. I own a condo in Denver. I run a consulting firm with 12 full-time employees. I've negotiated 6-figure contracts and advised companies on multimillion-dollar expansions. But in my family's quiet ranking system, marriage was the true promotion. Without it, you were still pending approval. Mom stepped closer and lowered her voice. "Don't look upset. It's symbolic. You're still our baby." Symbolic. The word landed with surprising weight. I glanced back at the long table. My brother-in-law discussing mortgage rates with Dad. My sister animatedly comparing travel plans. My brother confidently pouring wine like he owned the place. That was the table where decisions were made, where opinions mattered, where adult conversations unfolded. At mine, there were paper placemats printed with mazes and word searches. I could have laughed. I've done that before. I could have joked about ordering chicken tenders or asked for crayons. But something inside me didn't laugh this time. It didn't flare with anger either. It just went still. Because suddenly I understood, this wasn't about a chair. It was about status. About where they believed I belonged. "I'm going to step outside for a minute," I said quietly. No one objected. They were too busy adjusting menus and complimenting the wine selection. I grabbed my coat and walked out of the private room. The hostess looked up. "Everything okay?" "Of course," I replied calmly. "Just need a little air." But I didn't stop at the patio. I walked through the lobby, past the valet stand, and straight to my car. Once inside, I placed my hands on the steering wheel and let the silence settle around me. This wasn't new. When I bought my condo, Mom had called it practice for when you settle down. When I expanded my company, Dad asked whether I planned to slow things down once you start a real family. Every achievement was treated as temporary, preparatory, incomplete. Tonight was simply that belief made visible in furniture form. My phone buzzed as I started the engine. A text from my brother, Adam. "You leaving?" I didn't answer. I drove home. An hour later, the calls started. First Mom. I let it ring. Then Megan. Then Dad. On the 4th call, I picked up. Dad's voice had lost its polished dinner tone. It was tight now. Controlled. "Where are you?" "At home." "You just left, Dan." A pause. Expectant. "You embarrassed your mother." The symmetry almost made me smile. Did I? I asked evenly. Another pause. Shorter. There's a problem, he admitted. The restaurant can't finalize service without the cardholder present. Of course. The private room had been booked under my company's corporate account. Dad's credit limit couldn't cover the full deposit, and Megan's card had triggered a fraud alert during pre-authorization. We told them we'd sort it out, Dad continued. But they need you there to approve the final charges. It's policy. Policy. Authority in its most basic form. I leaned back on my couch and stared at the ceiling. I thought I was assigned to the kids' table, I said calmly. I didn't realize I was also responsible for adult financial agreements. Silence. In the background, I could faintly hear clinking silverware and the low murmur of strained conversation. A private room that no longer felt private. This isn't the time, Dad said quietly. When is? I asked. He didn't answer directly. If you don't come back, they'll close the room early and reroute the charges. It'll be awkward. Awkward. Such a gentle word compared to immature. Or not quite there yet. What exactly are you asking me to do? Come back. Just sign. We'll talk later. I considered it carefully. If I returned under the same conditions, nothing would change. The seating would remain symbolic. So would I. I'll come back, I said at last. But I'm not sitting at that side table. A long breath on the other end. You're making this harder than it needs to be. No, I replied. I'm making it clear. 10 minutes later, Megan called. We moved the place cards, she said quickly. Mom's upset, but it's done. Please just come back so this doesn't turn into a scene. It already had. Just not the kind they were worried about. When I walked back into the restaurant, the host's expression shifted slightly, polite recognition mixed with curiosity. Authority follows visibility. Inside the private room, the smaller table was gone. Folded away. My name card now sat between Adam and my brother-in-law at the oval table. No applause. No acknowledgement. Mom avoided eye contact. Adam stared into his wine glass. Dad half rose from his chair, unsure whether to greet me or apologize. I took my seat. The waiter appeared almost instantly with the payment tablet. Just here, sir, he said gently. I reviewed the total, signed, and handed it back without ceremony. Dinner resumed, but something fundamental had shifted. The conversations were different now. Directed toward me instead of around me. So what's the market looking like these days? My brother-in-law asked. How's the new office expansion going? Megan added. Their tone wasn't warm. It was recalibrated. I answered calmly. Professionally. No one mentioned the kids' table again. By dessert, the room felt balanced, not harmonious, but structurally corrected. When the evening ended, Mom hugged me stiffly. You didn't have to make a statement, she whispered. I met her eyes. I didn't, I said softly. You did. Driving home, I didn't feel victorious. I felt older. Not because they moved a chair, but because I stopped waiting for them to assign me one. Adulthood, I realized, isn't something your family officially announces on your behalf. Sometimes it's something you authorize for yourself. And sometimes, all it takes is quietly walking out. And deciding under what terms you're willing to walk back in again.